let's talk about Intelligentsia. So I raced all the days of it this year. And this year was my first year racing the P12 field. I was supposed to do it in 2019, but when I raced 2019 Toad, I got crashed out 2 laps in. And that took me out for all of Intelligentsia. So wasn't great. This year though, I was pretty excited. We didn't have as big of a squad for the P12 as we did in 2019, with me and my teammate Steven really just being the 2 main riders, and then our buddies from Colombia, Andreas and Alejandro, racing with us for our team as well. We also have one more teammate, Chris, who joined us on a couple of the days.
Hey, real quick, before you finish watching the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. All right, back to the video.
So going into this event, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I knew we were going to be fast. I knew it was probably going to be more than I expected to be able to do, but I was excited. I was looking forward to learning. I was going into these races with the idea that I was going to learn and gain the experience, not to get really good results. Most of the fields were over 100 each day, and it was really difficult to move up, so I really tried to focus on my bike handling skills, my pack handling skills, being comfortable at speed in a group like that, and just generally getting better from all the things that I felt were holding me back to being really good at that level. So West Dundee was the first day, and to say I didn't last long would be an understatement. I think I was pretty close to off the back after the first time up the hill. And then once we made it over the hill, there was a crash pretty quickly. I made the poor decision to chase towards the back of the group because it was only about 2 to 3 bike lengths away, instead of just immediately going to the pit and taking the free lap. I would not make that mistake again the rest of the series. So my race ended pretty quickly after that. I tried to stay on, but I think maybe 1 or 2 laps later I got pulled. And it is what it is. I have never done that well on West Dundee as a course, so I wasn't expecting to do that well in this field. The series did something different this year, with Glen Ellyn being the second day. Now, I love the Glen Ellyn course. It's super fast, it's super fun, flowy, technical, a really challenging course, but really rewarding if you can ride it well. I thought that I did pretty darn well, but it was a fast race. I ended up lasting, I think, about 35-40 minutes out of the entire 90-minute race before I got pulled. But the field was just, exploding left and right. There was gaps opening up, guys not being able to hold their lines and just falling off the group. And so it was a really fast and really rewarding course. One of my favorite things to do on this course is that downhill left around the roundabout into the sweeping right-hand turn. And it's so fast and so fun in a group like this. And really just nailing that corner made me feel so fast in this group. It was a ton of fun. So by the 3rd day, which was Winfield, my feelings were kind of dejected because the first 2 races I didn't finish, and optimistic because the next couple races should be easier for me to just kind of hang out in the field. That didn't happen. Winfield, I got about 3-4 laps in and was just out the back. Between my fatigue and the speed of the race, I just couldn't keep up on the really long hill drag up the race course at Winfield, and I just got pulled out of the race, and I just was not happy about it that day. I was really kind of upset, so I ended up just kind of packing my stuff up and bailing. And I just kind of needed a night to clear my mind, so I didn't talk to any of my teammates or anything like that, and maybe a little bit of overreaction, but I just needed some time away. I needed some time to just be on my own. Woke up the next morning, pity party over, let's go race. It's okay if I don't finish these races. I'm not here for the results, I'm here for the experience, here to learn. So after Winfield was Mundelein. This was a new course this year, and this is actually where I met Anwar Eaton. He's another YouTuber. You guys should definitely check his channel out. He's new to the sport, new to racing, and he went like full gas this year. He raced Toad, he raced Intelligentsia. I think he skipped Gateway, but he went and did Indy weekend, and so he's been like full at it, and he's been doing pretty darn well. Like it's really cool to see him move through the process and make those improvements. So definitely check him out if you got a chance. But the Mundelein course was super fun, big giant roundabout pretty early into the course. There was a quick left, and then you took kind of a easy right with some cool brickwork that you could ride on, and then it was a giant roundabout that we went around. And it was just so cool to do that at speed. Race was pretty fast, and I was actually feeling really, really comfortable. One of the cool things about this whole series was Justin and Corey and the whole Legion team showed up, so we got to race with those guys. And I look up to those guys. You know, I think they're doing great things for the sport, and it was just super cool to be able to ride with them. There were a couple times where I was on Justin's wheel, and it was just really eye-opening to see him move through the field the way that he does and how easily he does it. Unfortunately, one of the times we were coming out of the last corner, I started pedaling a little too early and was a little too leaned over, and I clipped my pedal, which tossed the back of my bike up in the air. Luckily, I came down on my wheel, didn't crash, kept it up. My chain popped off, which was a huge bummer, but luckily, I kept it up. I got back on, got back into the race, and started going, but it was not to be. I think the lap after that is when I ended up getting pulled. It is what it is. I was happy to not crash that day. Day 5 was Lombard. This was a new course in 2019, and I was in my head all day about this course, walking around it, seeing the turns. The first turn is a wide sweeping right, and it narrows as you come into the straight on the back half. And just all day in my head, I was super worried about it, kind of nervous about it. But honestly, once we got into it and started racing, I felt really comfortable on that turn. As the whole series went on, I just felt like I got more and more comfortable. I could kind of see where things were going, see things as they were happening, and just processing things better throughout the whole race. And so I made it my priority in this race to try and move up as consistently as possible. And I was doing that until I got pushed up against the barriers on one of the laps. Not so much that I touched the barriers, but enough where I couldn't move forward, and the guys in front of me slowed down a lot. Gaps opened up, tried to close them. When you're at, full VO2 max and you're trying to close gaps for the rest of the race, it's not going to happen. And so I ended up getting pulled again, I think in that race, about 30 minutes in. But I felt really good about my abilities in that race. Like, I felt confident. And so improvement, right? I was looking for progress, and I got it. Day 6 was South Chicago. This course is pan flat. It's pretty fast, but the roads are absolute garbage. I felt really good this day, and I actually ended up throwing an attack out a couple laps in. I knew it wasn't going to stay off, but I wanted to get to the front. This was the only time I saw the front of the P12 field, and I actually got a couple seconds off, and I looked back, and I was clear. And then the next time I looked back, Freddie Ovett from Legion had pulled the entire field back up to me, and they just kind of, came around me, and I integrated back into the peloton. So after I got sucked back into the field, I just kind of chilled out. This is a very easy race to sit in because there's no technical aspects of it. There's a couple corners and then a 180, but it's pretty easy to just hang out. That was my plan until I got a flat. And so because of the length of this course, because I think it's like 3.5 miles long, it's considered a road race. And since it's a road race, there are no free laps. There is a follow car, and the follow car swapped out my wheel. As the person came up to me, they said, hey, the only wheel we got left is this junior gearing wheel. And I took it, But by the time we got the wheel on and I was behind the car trying to get back onto the field, they were maybe already a minute up the road, to maybe almost 2 minutes even, and so it was really not going to happen. I wasn't going to catch back on, and so that one I think was about 40 minutes in before I just kind of pulled the plug and saved it for the rest of the series. But I felt really confident in that day. Had I not gotten a flat, I feel like I probably would have finished pretty well. Steven, my teammate, he actually, I think, got right outside the top 20 that race. So that's huge, right? Top 20 in a P12 field like that is a really good accomplishment for us. Next day was Elgin. And this was a brand new course this year. And it was a cool course, pretty technical, fast, and it's short. I want to say the laps were maybe a minute long. But things did not go well at Elgin. We started off, they blew the whistle, and right off the gun, the pace car didn't move. So I immediately had to kind of dodge the pace car and then get going. And once I got going, I got shuffled back pretty quickly. I believe I had some trouble clipping in, and so as I was trying to get clipped in, the whole field just kind of comes by. And right after that, the course gets really technical, so as you get shuffled back, it's just harder and harder to keep it steady and to keep an easy pace, and you're sprinting out of every corner. And I got pulled, I want to say 8 minutes in, so I lasted 8 or 12 minutes into this Elgin race, and yeah, it was rough. But what was kind of crazy was, even though I only lasted 8 minutes, I finished in front of about 25 other people still. So there were 25 people who lasted less than 8 minutes. And I think that gives a pretty good example of just how rough that course was, just how fast that race was. So the second to last day was Lake Bluff. And on the drive up there, the sky was literally black. I was thinking about just not racing. I've been successful in not having any incidents or crashes the whole series, and Lake Bluff for me is kind of a cursed race. I've done that race a ton of times, and I've crashed there, just as many times it feels like. And so me and Lake Bluff, we just don't vibe. But it cleared up, and our race was totally dry, no issues. And as we started, I had a good start, but again, quickly got shuffled back. I think part of it on this course is definitely mental for me. It's just in my head that I don't like that course. The roads are pretty narrow. The corners look a lot tighter than they actually are as you come up to them. And so it really just messes with me. And yeah, I think I lasted about 15-20 minutes on that one, and then I just kind of dropped off the back, and that was it. That was it for that one. One more day left. I have yet to finish a race, but I also haven't crashed or anything like that. Not that there hadn't been any crashes. There were plenty. It wasn't a dangerous race series, but crashes happen. So the last day was Fulton Market, and I made it my goal. I was like, I'm not finishing this series without having not finished a race. So Fulton Market, this is the last one. Flat, 4-corner crit, got a little chicane in the middle of the back half, and yeah, things kind of just clicked on this last day. I was pretty comfortable in the field, taking the corners at speed, and floating around in the pack, and then towards the maybe 20-30 minutes in, I found myself near the back of the group. But this is a course that's not the biggest issue because it's not super technical. So I was just able to start floating through the corners and closing it as I came out of the corner with extra speed. And it was challenging at first because there was a crash, I believe, on the first lap. And then I think a crash on the second or third lap, and I was caught behind both of those, so I ended up going to the pit twice within the first 10 minutes of the race, if that. I didn't go down, but I was caught behind them and had to get off to get around, so went to the pit. took my free lap. After that, things started to calm down a little bit. There was a breakaway up the field, and once the break went, things calmed down quite a bit. They never slowed down. I want to say we averaged something like 28.5 for the 90 minutes of the race, almost 29 miles an hour. But I was feeling pretty comfortable up until I hit a bump and one of my water bottles flew out. And so for an entire 90-minute race, I had 2 gels and one bottle of water. Not even a full bottle, maybe half a bottle of water. And so I tried to make it last as long as I could, tried to make sure that I was taking sips when I really needed it versus just kind of, wasting it. And I survived. There was a crash with 6 to go, the last lap for free laps. I made it through, made it over to the pit, and they told us, this is the last lap for free laps, no more after this. So this was my 3rd time in the pit in that one race. We get back in, and I'm sitting towards the back and just really trying to survive. Like I said, my one goal for this race was to finish the damn race. And I did. I finished the race. I lasted the entire 90 minutes on half a bottle of water and 2 gels. And while my performance may have not been perfect, I was happy that I had finished the race. I had finished one of the races finally in the series on the last day. Overall, this P12 experience was awesome. I feel so much more confident on the bike after this series. I just raced Gateway last weekend as I'm filming, and things just felt so much more easy to process. At Gateway, they don't have a P12, it's P1 only, and so I was racing the 2-3. And it just felt easier to process what was happening, why it was happening, when it was happening. Easiest way to explain it is just like things kind of felt much more like they were in slow motion versus the first time in P12. So I feel more comfortable through corners with speed, more comfortable kind of moving around in the field and making my own space when I need to, not elbowing or shouldering people out of the way, but seeing the gaps and going towards them where other people or myself previously would have not been comfortable going there. It was a great experience. I'm totally looking forward to doing it again next year with my teammates, with a whole full squad. I don't know if we'll be able to do anything if Legion shows up again, but maybe we can actually finish more than one race next year. That's the hope. I am gonna post some of the individual races, probably not all of them because some of them, like I said, are only 8 to 10 minutes long, but I'll definitely be posting Fulton, probably Lake Ellyn, and maybe 1 or 2 others that I deem worthy. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for me. It really helps me out. I would love to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it's with your help that I can do that. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.